ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವಂಥ ಗಣ್ಯರಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಲಿಯೋಸ್ ಅವರೊಬ್ಬರು. ಫ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ನಿಂದ ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ವಸುಂಧರಾ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮದುವೆಯಾಗಿ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿರಿಯ ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರಾಗಿ ಶೈವ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಪಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಅಪಾರವಾದಂಥ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಖ್ಯಾತರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ವಿಷಯ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷ ಪದ್ಮಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತರಾದ. ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಪಡಬೇಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಒಂದು ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಜವರೇಗೌಡರು ಒಂದು ಸಲ ಹೇಳಿದರು, ಏನಂದರೆ ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಮರಾಠಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಆದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಮನೆ ಮಾತು ತಮಿಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಆದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫಿಲಿಯೋಸ್ ಅವರು ಮೈಸೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ವಿಷಯ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಈಗ ಪದ್ಮಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತರಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಿರು ಗೌರವ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಓಯಲ್ ನಾಗಭೂಷಣ ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಕಂತ ಕೋರಿಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ.
This way, I do not know if I deserve it, but even though I am unfit person to come in this at this desk, because I do not speak Kannada, but only I wish to express my deep, my high respect for Kannada culture. I have come here to study, I have come in India to study Sanskrit. I have learned a little of Sanskrit, staying in Pondicherry, and happily I discovered Mysore. Mysore is the right place to study Sanskrit. I can say how to study Sanskrit without coming to Mysore. It is, we can find traces of it. The sons of Saraswati have been living in Mysore. And of course, everyone knows that in the world of today, which is too educated, too much westernized, too much globalized, we must have a refuge to be able to live comfortably. And I come here just to say, how can we live without being in Mysore, hearing something about the classics of the beautiful Kannada literature, and classics of every literature, not only Sanskrit, but Kannada as well, and many other languages as well. I can add especially French, whom I know better than any other language. But I have learned by studying Sanskrit that Saraswati does not speak only Sanskrit. Saraswati speaks all the languages. Saraswati speaks the cultured language. There is always a classical form which is more beautiful, more pleasant, and with which we can live only. If we have no knowledge of this classical literature, we miss something very, very big. That the classics give you the ability to live the beauty of a place. Mysore is a good place. I will not convince, I have no necessity to convince people here that it is a good place. it is a good climate, and it is a good culture. Sarasvati speaks the language of culture, and I want to say all my best wishes for the foundations of one Karnata Center. I am happy as being an old Sanskrit teacher to say that it is good to have the Sanskrit spelling with the Sanskrit orthograph, the Sanskrit spelling, and I understand also that working on traditional literature, I have heard traditional Pravachana in a modern background, but the background does not matter. What is important is the Pravachana of Girija Kalyana. I was amazed to see that it was so pleasant. Even though I do not know, I cannot understand the letter of the text of Raghavanka, I feel just by hearing the sound that there is something which is elevated, great, and which can, and communication can be more emotional. This is a real necessity. This is a necessity of life, and it is. I am glad to see that it is maintained, and it is a common subject of casual conversation that the scholarship is declining. Scholarship is not only erudition, ability to say many things about history, literature, and so on. Scholarship is living, is emotional attitude of mind, and kind of a brain work which has been cultivated very well in the Sanskrit Shastras, Kannada, Shastras in Canada. I know that there are also elevated and deeply thought Shastras in Kannada literature. I have seen at least one book which is Bhatta Karunka Karnataka Bhushanam. This is just like Panini, exactly. And the sutras are written in Sanskrit. The commentary gives examples from Kannada, classical Hale Kannada. We cannot be without ignoring this beautiful literature. I wish to add one thing. Literature does not go alone. There are monuments, and if I am attracted by Canada, it is because of the monuments as well as because of literature. We cannot live without seeing one heritage house, without seeing Mysore Palace and all heritage in this place. We cannot live without visiting Pattadaka, Layole, and all these wonderful monuments which are dispersed everywhere in Karnataka. Karnataka is one of the states which has the highest density of monuments. It has in the same time very high density of literature. Karnataka is really a place where we can enjoy life, we can enjoy culture and life in culture. I can say, how can we live without visiting Hampi every year? I am a fan of Hampi, and I wish to add just one thing. I think this is personal. how can we live without a Canada voice? And I give the place to a real Canada scholar.